Hello and welcome to Elvenhome, and to this edition where I start the work in earnest on upgrading the houses and the whole area around Bagshot Terrace and Longbottom Terrace. And so what I think we'll do is go straight to that work, which has been really quite fiddly and time consuming. At the end of the last video I mentioned that I would be decorating the backs of filling in the backs of these houses because they would not be completely empty and devoid of life in the way they have been. Now I'll put up here some footage which I think runs for about 30 seconds, maybe a little bit longer, where I tried to get a better view inside these, but these are really tricky to film. So starting with the pubs, I got some 50-gallon barrels from Langley Models, which come unpainted. So I painted those really using only the Vallejo wood grain, dark wood grain, several coats, and then stuck them in a stack of 6. They come in a pack of 6, so that was an easy thing to do. And they've gone into the backyards. The pubs have also got some dustbins, which are larger than the dustbins that are in the other yards, and those are from P&D Marsh. I bought those a while ago, I think. They're much bigger. They look more like industrial bins to me than you would find in domestic properties. The other gardens or backyards all have bins in them, and those are the ones that you can get in packs of 10 from Kytes Lights. All the things I mentioned here I'm going to put in the description. They're all things I've bought. They are not affiliate links. Just so you know, I spent my own money getting these things. The ladders is a kit that I had around, which have gone into some of the gardens, and you'll see there is one chap cleaning a window. And those are from Scalemodelscenery. It's a little pack of assorted ladders. So the ones that I thought looked the right size came out, and some of them will go in the backyards just to fill the space. And the bicycles that are in there are PECO Modelscene bikes. They're not very expensive. I can't remember how many you get in a packet, but again, I'll put the link below. They come, I think they're grey, and I've painted those up. Those are quite hard to see, so what I'll do, I'll bring one of the bicycles to view. No, I won't. I'll drop it instead. That's actually a good thing. So I will bring 2 of the bicycles to view and keep hold of them. So they come all grey. They're very thin. But as you can see, all I've done is painted them, the frame one colour, and then obviously the tyres and the saddle and the handlebars. There's not much of a handlebar. I've also done one in green, just for a bit of difference. And some I've just kept completely black because I didn't think there'd be many really garish colours at this, the time that my thing is set. The main thing that's gone in that you can see are the clothes lines. Now I do know that there is a Langley kit of a lady hanging out her washing, which I have to admit I've never really liked. I don't know why, I just don't like it. And anyway, given that I've got, I think it's 28 yards to fill, 28 of those kits would be 28, well, for me it'd be 28 too many, but it certainly would be far in excess of any kind of money I'd want to spend. So I found that I had knocking around a little piece, several lengths rather, of 0.75mm strip styrene rod, which has, as you can see up here, these are waiting to be fitted in, which I've cut. Now, I know, as indeed I'm sure do you, that if you did that to scale, 0.75mm rod is about 9 inches, I think, is it? Oh no, it's about 4 inches. And that would make for a very big washing line indeed. You'd be able to hold an ocean-going liner with a 4-inch washing line. But a real washing line can't be more than 1/4 of an inch, which is 1/24 of a millimetre. and I defy you to find anything that is 0.04 millimeters and be able to work with it and then see it. So I think, as in all things, you just have to accept that some things have to be over scale. The sheets that are hanging on the washing lines is actually tissue paper. My wife has a remarkable stack of tissue paper and some really big sheets of it. And so I took one of the sheets, which is one of these. Now, rather handily, this tissue paper has you can probably see it's got a sheen on one side. So it's got a plastic back. So I cut a long strip off that was the right width and folded the two plastic sides back to back. Used some of the glue that I use for ballasting, actually, very weak solution. Painted it, stuck it, put it together to give me a double thickness and let that dry. I then painted it a light cream, which I mixed up from the Vallejo. Again, a very wet mix, and again let it dry, and then cut it. And what it's given me are these pieces of paper. Now, this is double thickness, so it's got some body to it. But what it's also got in it, as you can see, is creases from the wetting and drying. And what I do is fold that in half over the clothesline with a bit of glue down the fold line, and then just press it into place. And that's giving me, I'm not going to put a sheet on every clothesline, but there'll be enough so that there is something there. And today is just going to be the day on which they do their bedding and they don't wash any other clothes, because I am not trying to cut out and engage other forms of attire. The only other thing I've been doing is painting up some figures. You'll remember some time ago I managed to buy some architectural figures, or figures that are used for architectural models rather, which are very basically painted, some more than others. And I use those to paint. Now I'm going to have to move these down because they're in the box behind here. There we go. And so if I bring these in, these are, I've hand painted from the originals, just to give a bit, because they're very lightly painted, some of the originals. But one thing it has enabled me to do, which I'm really pleased about, is to get a vicar, because I've been waiting on a vicar for a while, and all the vicars that you can get in kits are all dressed for for a major sacrament or other, whether it's christening, marriage, or a funeral service. And I don't want a vicar dressed ready to go and do a service. So I came across one of the little models I had was this one, and as you can see, he's had his head painted, well, sort of big bald patch. They're not badly modelled. You can probably see there he's in a double-breasted suit. So I now introduce you to the Vicar of St Eldar. Ta-da! Those of you who are familiar with, let's see if I can get him in focus. There we go. I did take a picture. This is not coming out too bad, which I zoomed in a little bit of the. I must think of what his name is. I don't think I've given him a name. And that now gives me a vicar. Those of you that are familiar with ecumenical garb may realise that he has delusions of grandeur, because the clerical shirt he's wearing is the colour, I think, of an archbishop. And he, alas, is merely a local rector. But, you know, he has hopes. And his clerical shirt is the way that he expresses those hopes. So that takes you through where I've got to so far. I do have, and I'm hoping they'll arrive before the video goes out. They should do, because I'm doing this now on the 31st of May, and the video is not due out for a couple of weeks. I found on Etsy some 1 to 144 scale tin baths, because I realised the thing that's missing out the back of these yards is several tin baths. So we'll see what they're like when they arrive. But it's been really interesting that the amount of time involved in doing this is far in excess of, of any time it took me to build a mountainside. I mean, that was dead easy, really. This has taken a lot of time and work, but I think it's beginning to show the results. And once this is done, I will need to do the other one. It's only when they're done that I'll then start thinking about installing all this on the layout. Right, I'm going to try this bit handheld so I can maneuver the phone, the camera, so you can see the back. These houses are just sat in there. They've now both had their chimney pots done. And I think you can really see the difference it makes, if I come across here, between the Metcalfe chimneys, which, as I've said before, I don't see that Metcalfe could do anything different to what they do to be able to put chimneys in their kits, and the ones that I got from Smart Models. The Metcalfe chimneys are very much cheaper, not least because I think you can download them from their website if you need to. These were more expensive, but I really like the look of these. I think they sit so much better on the houses. I've started as I was putting the new cobbles in. Now this is the Volmeyer cobbles. I'll show you the back of one of these sheets which has the code on it in a moment, because I've never been really happy with the Metcalfe cobbles, and one of the things I like about this is that there is texture there, and generally speaking I prefer to use textured things, and if I had the choice of being able to go back and make all these buildings again, I would probably think about putting some texture over the carcasses of the Metcalfe kits, but I am not rebuilding all these. And as you can see, if I go along here, these backyards are starting to have some things in. I've painted up some pink sheets. I can't remember if I told you that the last time. I don't think I did actually, that I noticed my OCD had put the sheets in at very regular intervals, and also, to be fair, the white sheets all went in that were convenient for me being left-handed. It was easier for me to fit them in, so I put some other sheets on now going the other way. The base has been put in, so those first two pieces are L-shapes. And they're helping to fit the frame in. And I think the next thing to be done is actually I've got to build the frame for this, because I want to finish all the cobbles on the edges, because that fixes where the frames are, and then I can drill the holes for everything else. There is, if I lift this up a bit, you'll see some marks there. The two wide notches at the top are areas where I simply must not drill, because sitting under there is the transformer for the Gauge Master Prodigy controller, and there'd be a bit of a bang, I think, if I drilled through there. But that's fine. The houses themselves where the lights are going to be will not be in that area, or anyway the wires can be run either side. The only other thing to tell you, because they've arrived and I've painted them up, is that I have my little tin baths, which really are rather sweet. If I bring it in, there we are. There's another 10 coming. These arrived, I found these on Etsy, and I think they're really for dolls' houses, and it's 1:144 scale, which really, you know, it's not going to show. And so I've got another 10 coming. These aren't cheap, it has to be said. They're £2.50 each, but I think they're going to look good. I've painted them with the natural steel colour from Vallejo, which has done a great job, I think. So most of the yards will have a tin bath in them in the end. So now I'm going to get on, I think, and make the second frame, because I really need to get that done. And then I can finish putting all the cobbles in, and then obviously there's all the decorating and other stuff, and then I can actually try and get this one in its final position and the lights wired. Now that may probably be in the next video, because I've got a I've decided actually to go back to the normal power distribution boards I have, which allows me to switch it down to 3 volts, because I've got 18 lights here, and frankly wiring in 18 resistors is an unnecessary thing to do if I can use a power distribution board that takes the voltage down to 3 volts, which is what I need it to do. So that's enough for now, and I'll come back up here once I've got the second frame made and in place on the layout. Well, I hope you enjoyed the running session, an all Pullman running session. Having seen Ian's N-Gauge review of the Bachmann Pullman brake and seeing Pullman sets running, I thought it was about time that I really got on and started mine. Partly because I went to the Edinburgh Model Railway Club show, which was just around the corner from me, literally 10 minutes from my door. And it was a really nice show, but there was a second-hand dealer that's based in Scotland, and he doesn't have an internet site. He just goes to model railway shows, Langley Models, and he had 3 Pullman coaches there, which for £75 I took away with me. A little bit of time on the internet got me Hadrian's bar and a first kitchen, I think. And what I'm trying to put together, and I just need 2 more, which is a second kitchen and a second parlour. And the train is a consist or a formation that was used for the Queen of the South Pullman that used to run from Euston to Glasgow. It's being pulled by Firth of Forth. In the running session, it was Firth of Clyde. But just as I started to record this, Firth of Clyde has started playing up. So I'll have to investigate that after the video goes off. But of course, you always have a second Britannia handy, and so Firth of Forth has manfully stepped in. That pretty much, I think, brings us to an end. Oh, well, yeah, just to say, as you can see, that I've put the frame on, as I said I would do. I've made up the second frame. I've started the work of putting new pots onto this building at the back. These have had all the old pots taken off and painted up. They haven't yet been dressed at the back, but I will be doing that over time. I've got my other bathtubs to arrive and paint up, and then I can get all those in. then I can get the cobbles down, then I can get by then the distribution board will have arrived. I can drill the holes and get everything wired up. So I'm hoping by the time you return in about 4 weeks' time that this will be completed, because it's taking ages. But I think it will be good when it's done. It certainly will be better in terms of general looks, because I really like that cobble over the Metcalfe and the other stuff that I've had there over the time. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please do give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe. That's all very helpful. And of course, please do let me have your comments, because that really is so helpful to me as I continue titillating the parts of the layout which were only done to a certain standard to allow me to get on with the major part of the build. I'll set up a teaser for you. In the next video, I'm going to be tapping into the hive mind as I'm thinking about how I'm going to fit somewhere my next project. This is not being taken up, in case you're worried. Far from it. There's lots of work to be done on here. But as I mentioned a little while ago, I joined the 2mm Fine Scale Society with a project in mind for later in the year, and I've been trying to cudgel my brains how I can fit that somewhere, probably underneath the layout, which may give you a bit of a clue. So I'm setting that up to make sure you come back in 4 weeks' time. Oh, and finally, he said, and finally, Esther, some of you may have seen by now that Tom at Buggles Kelly has indeed decided to do the some N-gauge wagons. I've ordered mine, the Hodges wagon, the Gas Works wagon, and of course Jones the Butcher. So for all of you that did go out and buy the wagon, the Buggles Kelly wagon, thank you, because it had the effect that I wanted. I doubt that I had any effect on it at all, but if I did, hurrah. So come October time, Jones the Butcher and his wagon will indeed be on the layout. So that really is it now, until I speak to you again in about a fortnight's time. So that's bye-bye from me. Bye-bye.